Hey up everybody, Alan here from Danumblades, and as I said in one of my previous videos, I'm going to start sorting out this particular area into my clean room. So generally we're doing leather work. So I've already started cleaning everything out. Basically that back wall is going to have storage and also a workbench put into it. I'm not going to bother putting a time-lapse thing, a bit of clips. I might do the odd bit every now and again just to show you how it's going on, but hopefully very shortly you'll see it all finished. Right, hopefully I should be able to show you something of that workshop in a bit, see how far I've gone with it. But first of all, I'm going to go through how I shape up my handles. So I've got a couple here that are both pinecone ones. Handles are glued on, they've both got mosaic pins on them. The roebuck and the followbuck pins, a row stalker and a fallow stalker. So that first of all needs to be profiled, so I'll show a bit of a video of how I'm going to do that in a moment. Do it on my belt linisher, basically profile the edges up, and then I'll put a bit of shape into the handle itself, and then I'll go around with another belt, slightly finer belt, and then knock off all the edges. So you can see with that one, so curly birch, it's shaped out, and I just need to start refining that. Start off with a 36 grit belt to get the majority of the work done, then I'll take it onto a 60 grit belt to knock off these edges. Once I've done that, ideally I'd want to use try and stay on the grinder as much as possible to basically reduce the amount of work they have to do by hand. Now I've got some scalloped belts that I was going to use with my 72-inch grinder. Unfortunately I haven't been able to get on with that grinder, and I've decided to send it back and try something a bit different. It just didn't quite work with how I wanted to use it. Great enough machine, but just not for me. So instead I'm going to be working through it with different grits by hand. So I start off, once I've got it down to the 60 grit with the belts, I'll go on to an 80 grit. So I use these rolls, so it's an emery cloth. What I'll do is I'll tear a strip off and then just work on the basically backwards and forwards, or side to side on it rather, like I'm using a towel. Work on that, then what I'll do is go on to, dogs are barking for something, then I'll go on to 180 grit, take a piece of paper on that, work that the opposite direction to what I've done with the first one, just to get all the scratches out, and then I'll go from 180, I'll take it up to a 320. Same again, another Stark, one of these rolls. I find these really good to use. I also use these when I'm polishing my blades up as well. Really good stuff to work when it's on the polishing sticks, because it's got the material backing. It's strong stuff, it's really handy. So once I've gone on through that, then I'll take it back onto my linisher and I'll go through my Trizac belt. So I've got a 45, a 30 and a 16. It just takes all the scratches that I end up with sort of like along the spine of the knife. Once I've done that, back onto here again, and I'll go through, rub the sides down with a 600, then an 800 and either a 1000 or a 1200, depending on what I've got at the time. I think I've got some, no, I'm back onto 1200 because I've used all my 1000 grit stuff up. So what I'm going to go on to next is work on these through these grits. I'll show you what I do with this, then I'll show you what I do with that one. But first of all, let's go and have a look at what I've been doing in my little workshop. Right, so what do you reckon? All my racking up at the top, all the different boxes, got a bit of a work table. That's for my reloading gear for the rifle. Still need to sort a few bits and bobs with that out. I've still got to get rid of this table somehow. Not sure how yet, but or where I'm going to put it. I'm also going to put a partition wall up. I did have some loads of racking and stuff up here, which might be on the video or not. It's now out of the way, which is a bonus, so it gives me a bit more space. I want to put a work table down here, so I can do some put the big piece of leather onto it and then cut those out. Also got warming box. Just need to put some insulation inside of that just to make it a bit more efficient. But that's that sorted. But space for compressor, also my sharpening wheel, my Tormac sharpening stones, But yeah, I'm quite chuffed with it. Lighting, need one more light to go up here, I think. Hopefully I'll get some videos of me actually making something in this area soon. But this is mainly for my leather work, so the idea is to keep this area clean. Now back to the dusty job. Back to the sanding. I'm going to stick my mask on, stick my tunes on, the door's open, it's nice weather. I'll stick this other camera on so it gives a bit of a closer view of what I'm doing. Like I say, I'm going to start off with the 80 grit, then I go to the 180 and then the 320. Then it goes back up with these ones that I've already got sorted. So the strawberry mesh, you might have seen these in the last video, ones I was sorting out. The toxic green, I've got another linen micarta, or sorry, canvas, green canvas micarta, and Inferno. This one's on a zipper, that's that sorted. And I've also got this one that I've had to make twice because I didn't quite get it right the first time. Right, back to it. Right, so that's that one done. This is one of my catcher muntjacks, so with the thin blade on. Juma handle, red Juma with some black G10 liners. So now that can go in the rest of the pile for when I'm working on the linisher again. And all I've got to do is carry on with these two. So again, two more of the catcher muntjack styles. Again, green Juma with the red liners, so that's similar to one of the Cerakoted blades I've done. And then this one, which is the curly birch with some black liners on. So I'll get those sorted and then I can work one of the other lots on the linisher. Right, I've got all these ones all shaped up. They're all ready just to, like I say, clean the edges up and then last few grits and then polish them up. Few selection, and then next one, get these two sorted out. So I'll show you what I'll do with these. So first of all, I've got to just quickly flatten these sides off. Then I'm going to work out the profile around the edges of them. Then I've got to just take a little bit of sculpting out of the handle where I use for how I shape mine. Then knock off the edges, and then I can go back onto the stage that I was with these ones, where I'm just cleaning down, smoothing them all over, and getting them all ready for the final polish. So back over to linisher. Right, so that's the profiling all sorted. Cleaned them all up. I like to go through grits, even though I know that I'm going to scratch the spine when I end up shaping the handles anyway. I like to take it down as much as I can and then go back to it when I need to. This one, you can see, I've got some file work on the spine of it. So my next job is to sort of work out a bit of dust. You probably saw a hell of a lot of dust there. Got a new fan up on the top, new filter, but I still need a shop vac, a decent one anyway. Right, so next thing I want to do is just work out the actual size of the handles. Because they're not quite even when I glue them on, I need to just give them a bit of a tweak. So these at the minute are about 12mm, and I would usually take about 1 mil off them. Just sharpen my pencil up. There we go. Right, let's see if I can lower this camera down. And this. Right, so got my knife there. What I'll do is I can see that it's about 12 mil. I want to take a mil off it, so I'll just put a line on the side of it. That's just about the same. Going to about 1.5 mil. It needs to be off there. The end, about the same again. Opposite side of it, just less. About 1 mil. There we go. So that makes it about 11 mil per side for the scales. Regarding thicknesses, they do make them slightly different. If I were using something like this, smaller knife, so I've got the outer side is about 6 mil with a 1.5 mil liner on it. Just makes a nice slimmer handle for a smaller knife. Let's try to think. Using something like this sort of stuff. So the Canvas Makata Orange G10. The Orange G10 is about 3.2 mil, and the Makata is about 6.3 mil, something like that. So you're making about a 10 mil, just shy of 10 mil thickness on the handle, which it works out about right. I don't want to go any thinner with that on sort of like the Rowan Fowler stock, because I think the handle makes it a bit too slim. Obviously, unless it's been asked for to have a slim handle, but other than that, that's about the narrowest I go. When I'm actually using a blocks of something like this, the acrylic, they're usually about 11 mil-ish when I'm working to them. Maybe a slightly wider than what the others are, but it's just how they come out. Give you a bit more, you can sculpt a little bit more with it. But with this one, I just need to take these edges down and then sculpt it. But I'll just go on and measure this one. Right, so that's them profiled thicknesses to what I want them to be. Next thing is to do a little bit of sculpting. Now, just to help me out with that, take a little set square. I sort of line it up with where, sort of like the bulge for the finger bulges, and just put a couple of lines across. And then what I'll do is I'll go down the handle, just putting lines across. Now, the reason I do this, it just makes it a little bit easier when I always check it with one of these, just to make sure that both sides are about the same thickness when I sculpt it. And what I find is that when you put the lines in, it just helps you get an idea that you're looking at both sides in the same place. I mean, it doesn't matter, these will just rub off eventually anyway. Same again, and with that one. And like I say, they're not measurement lines or anything like that, they're just guides. Got to make sure that you put a nice sharp belt onto the grinder as well for doing this job, because depending on what sort of material you're using, you can overheat, turn that around, overheat your bolts or your pins. With these ones, you get little bits of the epoxy coming out. If you were using something, these are good examples, something like this, the acrylic, and you've got stainless pins in them, and you end up overheating your stainless pins, you end up burning your plastic, so you've got to be, or the acrylics rather, so you've just got to be careful with those. Brass aren't so bad, because it's a bit of a softer material, they grind a little bit easier, they don't really cause too much problems, but you have to be careful with stainless for definite, and especially when you've got like quite large pins, you don't really want to ruin them. So like I say, just a little bit of sculpting just to help for the handle grip, and I just gives it, like, I think it's nice to have that little bit more detail on them. Again, back to grinder. Oh, right, put them down. So that's these two profiled up and shaped, or the rough shaping. Next thing is to go what I did beforehand and do all the rest of the hand sanding. So I'll work on my way through those. Then the next thing is to get back on the linisher and just clean up these spines, last few grits, and then I can put it on the buffing wheel. Now for the last job of the linisher, just to clean up these edges. So I've got an A45 trizac belt, then I've got a 30 and also a 16. Cleans all the edges up, then exercise.
The situation was hopeless, and that surely it was better to come to terms with Germany. Terms that might not necessarily be too bad, rather than drag the war on with all its terrors and loss of life, especially when the outcome, now or later, looked so certain to end in German victory. Earlier on that Saturday, Lord Halifax had met with Signor Giuseppe Bastianini, the Italian ambassador in London. He had told Churchill what he was doing, and the PM had agreed to the meeting so long as no word of the meeting got out, as that would be seen as a confession of weakness.
Right, so I've managed to get them all sorted, all those knives. The last couple of bits just on the buffing wheel I didn't bother filming because I don't really like putting that on, because my buffing wheel goes the opposite way around. I've got it running backwards and I don't want people to try and follow us and then sticking a knife into themselves by accident, because I'm sure it's not very nice. However, two that I've got, rest of others are either already gone or just waiting to go. So the ones that I've got are the two Juma knives. So these two little catcher muntjacks with the slim blade on. I quite like Juma, it looks quite nice. That's got that sort of, what is it, magma dragon, this one. That one's all sorted with the hybrid sheath for it. So nice clip going in, but can be taken apart so you can clean the kydex from the inside, but it's still got the traditional leather outer. That one was in sort of a dark brown. This one's in more of a tan, but it darkens off anyway. No, sorry, that one's in black, obviously. That one's in the dark brown. Green stitching on that one. I could have put the red stitching in, put them with liners. And the green mamba, possibly. Red G10 liners. Again, hybrid sheath, so you can take it all apart. So those two are, well, those two are going to go up for sale. And they'll be coming with me to the game fair if they don't go beforehand. Some other bits I've got going, so I've got 3 knives here, again another 3 to sort out. They're glued up, waiting for them to be able to just get a minute to shape all the handles up. I've also got a bunch of Buckeye Burl, got a fly buzzing about somewhere, making a right racket. Buckeye Burl. This one I got a slab from it from States, got it sent over. I just need to give it some of these little pockets. I just need to take the little grinding wheel into, hollow them out a bit so it takes the bark out of it. Then I can get those setting, I'll clean the sides up a bit, and then I can get these set in resin, because I've got a couple of these to do. Some of it is got that really nice patterning. I really think it looks, once it gets put into a block, it really looks stunning. But some other parts of it are quite bright, just it's like a yellowy colour that's on the outer side. So I'll clean a few of those up and I'll see what they look like as well. Especially with these sort of smaller bits, what I can do is I can put one at either end of the mould and then put the resin in between. So something like that, maybe with a bright green or whatever, or bright blue on the inside of it. I think it should look all right. But other than that, guys, thank you very much for watching. Hopefully I'll have something else next time, and I'll see you later.